Greetings and felicitations.
Okay, here comes the first round.
Boom. And
Jeez, that was just
boom.
unnecessary.
You kidding me? You can't be out of range? What?
Greetings and felicitations, YouTube. Jarl of the Appian Way here. And I wanted to do a video for you all about the chat. This is a top Troy tips for people who are trying to get better at Troy. And this happens way too much. The chat is a tool you can use. You don't have to use it only for team games. You can also use it in versus mode. Right now you kind of see me, moving around the map, showing you the different ways you can use it. You can expand the chat screen. You can shrink it. You can position it wherever you want. I like it over here on the left side of my screen. And the way you open this bit of dialogue is with the Y key on your keyboard. You can also open it up just by clicking on the button at the top right hand of the screen. Now, this is a replay where I'm kind of demonstrating why it's just so incredibly necessary to have communication, especially if you're doing a team battle. I pretty much go through every tool in the communicator's toolbox to try and build a strategy with my ally here, Cheflo, who's playing as Thaya. Basically, what I want you to know is this. If you can communicate even with your opponents, you could become a better player. Your opponents will oftentimes, they'll offer you advice. They might tell you, hey, by the way, you can't hide your chariots in trees. I do that every time I see it happening. I'm like, they're not hidden. I know they're right there. Because, that's really disappointing if you go through all the effort of trying to do something and then find out that it just doesn't work the way you want it to. So it's at this stage, I go to check out to see what my ally prepared. And oh my goodness, he brought, what is this? 6 Achaean slingers. So I immediately open up my chat menu and I'm sending him a message. Cheflo, please don't bring that many trash slingers. I hold down the shift key and then I press enter and it sends the message specifically to the team. And it's at this stage, I don't even know that Cheflo knows the chat exists. By the way, there's a sound cue associated with it. Maybe you hear it and you just didn't know it was because there was a chat menu. There's a little ting, ding, ting with each message that's sent. Every time you hear that little ting noise, that means somebody has sent a message in the chat. So to this stage, I'm actually asking, can you see the chat? And I'm going to go ahead and right-click on his name, select private message, or you can just type in /PM his name, and it'll send out the private message. I'm trying every trick I know to get this man's to look at the chat and not bring this many slingers. I am also now attempting to speak to him in a different language because please don't bring this many Achaean slingers. I think he figured it out on his own. I actually don't think he saw the chat. I don't think he was communicating at all. But he changed his mind. He took away all of those trash slingers and instead he puts in Bowman. The one thing even worse than those Achaean slingers. And I immediately try telling him that I'm on the chat. I'm on the team chat. Again, that's just hit by shift and then enter to send out a message specifically to your team. So I give up. I give up trying to communicate with my my ally. He's not indicating he's listening to the chat in any way. I should just tell my opponents, I'm like, hey, I'm not going to make you all wait forever. I don't think he's actually paying attention. We can go ahead and start. Even in that replay, I actually had to actually passed on the tip to my enemies because they were trying to communicate to each other. It's like, hey, by the way, team messages, shift, enter. Now, when you're in the battlefield map, you still open up the chat menu the same way. You just toggle the Y key, or you click on the little chat box icon in the top right. But there's also another tool available to you in battles for communicating to your allies, and this is a lot harder to ignore. You can actually use these lovely little paint tools down here at the bottom right near the mini-map, the cursor. You'll see this this red paint, blue paint, and green paint. The green paint creates a line with two perpendicular lines at the end. It kind of indicates a defensive line position. The blue is just a blue line, and then the red paints a red arrow. And you're going to see us use all three of these in the setup here. And real quick, because I realized I forgot to bring it up, you can also do in-game pings. If you press F5, it'll give you this little drop icon next to your cursor. Drop that, boom. All of a sudden, you've got this lovely little tool that says, hey, look here. And if you click on it, it'll actually zoom you to it. So if I came over here, for instance, click on that, boom, turn around entirely. You can also, oh, let me go ahead and drop a new one. Like I want somebody to look at that unit over there, I can just drop a ping on it, and you can see it in the corner, boom, click on it, and it'll take you directly there. You'll see what's going on. It's interactable. It'll stay for a while, but eventually it will disappear. But that's just by hitting F5 and then ping. Hey, look, that hero's charged your ambushers. Oh geez, oh no, oh gosh. Let's go look at that. Alright, just thought you might like that. Back to the rest of the video. So here we are, we're getting into the battlefield, and I'm communicating to my opponent using the red paint the importance of taking that central position, and I'm using the green paint to try and show Keflo here, and the blue paint, circling his army, saying, hey look, just please move your army right up here. Trying to circle his forces, drawing that line, trying to show him what to do. Since I know he's not watching the chat, he's not reading the chat, this is my next best bet, is if I can show, hey, this is my plan, this is what I want for you to do in the battlefield. And the brilliant news is that the plan mostly works. He actually does put his units over there in that position. He also goes ahead and he deploys some units off on his right, but you know, that's totally cool. I use some of my units, I put them off on the far left, and we're gonna advance according to the plan that I kind of drew out. And thankfully, that bare minimum bit of communication was all we needed in order to pull off a victory in this battle. But anyway, this is my top Troy tip for you all. Even if you're just doing a 1v1, communicate with your opponent. Talk to them. They have experiences that you don't. They might know something that you don't. You might not know that bowmen are complete trash. Your opponent will gladly tell you, maybe not, maybe will, he should, tell you, hey look, next time just bring the Achaean Slingers if you want to bring a low tier missile unit. They'll do much better for you. There's been many times where I wish that I could just communicate with my opponent and say, hey look, if you did this one thing different, I bet you could have won. Oftentimes, they're not even paying attention. Anyway, that's it for today's episode. I hope you find these little communication tools and tips interesting. And remember, all the different formats you have, you'll hear the bing. That means that there's a message sent. You toggle Y, or you click on the chat icon in the top right to look at the menu. You can move it, reposition it anywhere you like. You can increase the size of it. You can scroll back, all of that. You can use that format to send private message by right-clicking on their name, and you can send team chat messages by holding down Shift and pressing Enter. In the battlefield map, you've got your red arrows, your blue lines, and your green defensive grid. I'm going to call it grid, but it's a green line with a boxed end. And you also have the F5 look here ping. Alright. Ta-ta, have a good one. I'll see you guys in the next video.